Okay, so welcome everybody to our second last session or fifth day of web designing course. Today we are going to cover three things. First, we are going to teach you about how you can do component driven designing and what it is. Secondly, we will teach you about user experience designing. Today, user experience designing would be taught by Laiba. And lastly, we would, give you a surprise kind of thing or a gift kind of thing where we will teach you how you can get Canva Pro for free and even share it with your friends for free. And the second thing would be how you can get Figma Pro for free. So I hope you guys are excited. And yeah, let's go. Let's start. Okay, so yeah, hmm. let's start with component driven designing right now. Um, I have a little example for you to understand it. Let me just, delete this. Okay. So what is component driven designing? To really understand what it is, let's first look at the problem that we face. When there's like a huge project you are making, there's this project where you are making your whole website, let's say, right? You have a home section, you have a about section, you have a pricing, then you even have, internal pages, like lots of web pages. It's like really, really common that there would be a lot of things that would get repeated. If you remember consistent designing explanation from lecture 2 and 3, we told you that you should have very, consistent sort of designing. If there is a theme you have followed, you should follow it in your whole website. Let's say if I have created this button of sign in green and black, this is how I'm going to design my all buttons in the website. So this is following a proper consistent theme. And when we are actually doing consistent designing, again, there are a lot of things that are common in all of these web pages. The example I'm going to use today is this navigation bar. Okay. So what's the thing with this navigation bar? If you can see, I'll just, count how many times we have used this exact same navigation bar. So this one is one, this one is two, and then we have here three. This one is okay, this one's different. Uh yeah, here. This one's four, this one's five, this one's six, right? And okay, yeah, that's it for now. Now we have six navigation bar which are exactly same, right? Now the problem is if I let's say if I want to, tomorrow my website have another web page that I want to show in the navigation bar. Let's say now I have this instead of team, I have about, right? The problem now is I have to change this text from team to about in every single navbar design. Like I'll change it here, I'll change it, in all six designs one by one. And this will take me a lot of time. And this is only for a navigation bar. There can be buttons that are, being commonly used. There can be so many other types of components. So what is a component? Component is, like it can be a button, it can be a navigation bar, it can be a this uh, container that you are using. It can be anything. So if these components are being, repeated, there's this problem with them that you have to edit them one by one. Now, to solve this problem, we have this phenomena called component driven designing. Now, what we do in this is we design one component. Like we know there's going to be an F bar that's going to be used in multiple web pages, right? We will design it separately as a component in Figma, and then we will just use it everywhere. Now, isn't it same or just what I am doing right now? No, it's not. So I'm going to teach you how you can create components in Figma and how you can, save so much time of yourself and so much energy of changing one thing again and again and again. So let me just create a component. Okay, so it's very simple. You don't really have to think that you are creating a component in the start. Just create a normal navbar. Now I'll use a frame as its starting point, as I taught you that it's better than using a rectangle. We just talked about it yesterday, right? So I'll just start with it. I'll see how much width is my desktop page. It's 1920, right? So my navbar's width should also be 1920, right? Now, okay, now I want a logo. Let's copy it. Yeah, just paste it somewhere here, somewhere near, so we can, compare it. Yeah, this one feels better. Okay, so we need all these things, right? I'll just copy them one by one inside this frame. There we go. Okay. I'll make the frame's background color a bit grayish so I can see things better. There we go, right? Now I'll make some changes, uh, to make some stuff better. Like let's say, just make it, you know, yeah, something like this. Okay. So I know this whole thing is a frame, by the way. I have created this whole thing in a frame. Okay. I want to group these two things as well together. So I'll create a frame on this as well. Simple, right? I want to group this rectangle and this sign in text as a group again. So I'll just create a frame on it as well, right? Okay, so we have these three frames now. If you can see here on the left side, we have this, we have this, we have this, right? Okay, so what I'll do now is first I'll add auto layout in them to have equal spaces between them and have padding and have uniform margin, all that stuff, right? So I'll just add auto layout by this option, add auto layout. And now they have equal spacing, right? So yeah, there we go. Yeah. So now it's in the middle as well. Um, hmm. I can adjust everything. I'll first make it in the middle, like vertically in the middle, and then I'll increase some spacing between them, like 325, let's say. And then I'll just, yeah, it looks good right now. Okay. So I'll just bring it in the middle. I'll add proper constraints in this. I'll say, okay, our this whole thing should always be horizontally in middle and it should always stick to the top vertically. So I'll do this. Or it can be in middle as well, considering it's associated with this frame. So here we go, right? Now what I'll do is I have this proper auto layout frame thing. Like it's a proper component now. Okay, before I move on, is everything clear up till here? Is there any confusion? Like what I did? Because I went a little fast compared to yesterday's class. So it's just a normal nav bar that we made from yesterday. Okay, it's clear. Awesome. Okay, okay, awesome. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do right now. Uh, please, carefully just see this. Don't follow right now. Just carefully see what I'm doing. I selected this frame, right? First of all, I'm removing the background color because it's transparent everywhere, right? It's transparent. The nav bar is transparent. So I'm removing the background color. Secondly, I'm coming here at the top in the middle. There's this option called create component. Can you guys see it? Create component. Yes. Rahim, I covered this glass morphism concept yesterday. Uh, it's just that. Anyways, okay. Just click on create component, and I have created this whole frame as a component now. How do you know it's a component now? It will have this purple thing. This whole thing is now purple, and you can also, if you just go on the left and you just click on assets, you will see it here. It's a little hard to see because it's transparent and white, but if you drag it somewhere like here, it's a component now, right? Now see this one thing. Uh, so I can drag it as many times as I want from here, from the assets tab, right? Now, let's say I have a change to make tomorrow. Instead of this about, I wanna do it, I wanna write it team, right? If this was not a component, I would have done it manually for each of the nav bar. Am I right? Am I right? If it wasn't a component, I would have to repeat all of this, right? Okay. Now see what I just did. What I'm just gonna do, right? I'll come to this component thing, which is this purple, right? The one I created. I'll go to its about and I'll change the text to team. Now, if you just scroll up, all the nav bars have automatically been updated. That's the magic of being a component. If I want to make any change I want, let's say this rectangle thing, right? That you guys are really confused about, this rectangle. I want to make it red. See how it's going to change in every single component automatically. So I'm changing its color. Can you guys see it? So this is the magic of having a component. Okay, so let me see if there's anything. Let me just let me know if there's anything confusing up till here. So yeah, that's the good thing about this whole component stuff. You just create one thing separately. You change, you make any change in it. All the other same components just change automatically. You don't have to make change manually to every single one. Please let me know if there's any question. I think you guys asked something. Hmm. Yeah, first you select the frame and then you make it a group. The whole frame that's containing everything. If you will just select the text inside that frame, only that text would be made a component then. Briha, I just deleted the background. Like if I go to this and I add a fill, like I click on this plus, it adds a background, right? And if I click on this minus on the right, it just removes the background. I did it because the nav bar is everywhere. It's like transparent, right? Okay, so everything's good up till here. What's the use of a component? It's like reusability, right? Yeah, it's like much easier to change and everything. Now, if you notice one thing, there's a darker variant of the nav bar here as well on this page. If you look at this, the logo is black, the text is black, and the rounded shadowish thing is you know is a little black as well. So that thing now is basically the nav bar. It's basically that same component, but it's a little different, right? So this little different thing is called a variant, right? Like it's like navbar can say it's a part of me, but it's a variant of me. It's not exactly me, right? So we call this thing a variant. Are you guys clear about the variant thing? This one is a this one is the original component. This one is a variant. This black thing, right? Okay. Before I move on about how you can create variants, I want you guys to actually practice this. Like, can you guys create a nav bar? Like we taught yesterday, and a really simple one. I don't want you guys to create a really stylish and modern one, just a very simple one. And just create a component and try to drag it from assets and drop down in the whole Figma file. Just try doing it and try making a change in the main component, and then see if it's changing everywhere. And if once you are done with it, just write done in the chat. I'll wait, because I know you guys will get confused when you will actually apply this whole thing. Once you guys are done, just let me know. It's okay. Aisha, it's changing as well. It's having the full functionality of a component. Oh, okay, Ariba. Um, okay, awesome. It's done for Subhan as well. Awesome. Okay, it's done for Furkan as well. It's done for Ali as well. Okay, okay, so you guys are done. Can't edit the text. You just have to, click multiple times if you have created a frame and then a frame. So you just have to click multiple times like this. It's like that. It's not a big money deal. It's like, I don't know, it was an international number and this guy's like screaming like Monis, Monis, and I'm like, what the heck? Yeah, you just select the frame and then you'll see this thing at the top, this first option in the middle, which saying create component. It's not necessary to do grouping or to do frame and anything like that, but it's a good, it's like better to do it, because if you are creating a component like a proper component that you are going to use it everywhere, it's better to do some efforts, like good efforts creating it, so you don't get stressed later about alignment and everything. Yeah. Okay, so guys, please tell me if you are done. Is there anybody who's having problem creating it right now? Is there anybody who's having any problem creating it right now, or can I move ahead? Don't make it cool right now. Just you know, Let's try things out. Okay, it's done. Okay, I'll just move ahead then. Um, hmm. Okay, so let's talk about, I'll just delete these and let's talk about how you can create a variant now. I'll make this rectangle look good again. Okay, so something like this. Yeah. Okay. So just go on to your main component. Now the button that you click for creating a component, there you will see this option add variant now. If you go onto the main component, you will see this option add variant. If you click on it, you get another same copy of your design, right? Now you can make changes on this variant. How do you know it's a variant or not? The main thing, if you look at the right side, it's telling you what's the name of the current variant. If you go to the, the main one, it's saying default. I can name it light mode, right? And if I go to the down one, I can, it's saying variant 2. I can name it dark mode just for my ease, right? Now, if I go to the dark mode component and I change the color of the text to black, all the colors of the text to black from here, and if I go to the sign in thing, just here, I'll make the rectangle behind sign in a bit darker as well. Yeah, something like this, right? And now the final thing is to change the logo from the light one to the dark one. First thing I'll do is I'll go to this frame that I created. Now here's an important importance of a frame. It will make my life so much easier for deleting and adding another frame because it's a frame. Let me show you what I mean. If I delete this and I just, copy the frame from here, it's going to be get automatically aligned very cleanly. See, I just copy pasted and it knew where it wanted to be pasted. If it was a rectangle, it would give you some problems. It would have gone somewhere randomly and you would have to drag it and align it and everything. That's why I prefer using frames and everything rather than rectangles or groups, right? So yeah, mm, there we go. We have a proper dark mode variant now, right? Now, if I go to assets, how do I now use this variant, right? Uh, okay, sorry. Now, if I go to assets and I can see my component here, I'll just drag it. And right on the right side, I see a drop down now. It's asking me which variant do you want? Do you want a light mode or do you want a dark mode? Default, it's light mode. I will just click on the dark mode and see. There we go. Now there's one more thing that I want you guys to understand about uh, one thing. Let's say if I'm changing the team in the light mode variant to about, the team text to about, but in only in the light mode variant, see what happens. It only changes in the light mode variant. It does not make any change in the dark mode variant. So a variant has its own properties. It's also like creating another component as a whole, right? It's just quicker and easier to create a variant, right? That's why we just do not create a whole another component. It's just so much work. Uh, okay, so this question that Rahim has asked, um, how do you make these text clickable using Figma 2? Like if I click on the team option on the navbar, will it lead me to the team section of the website? It's off topic, but it's a really great question. I will actually cover this in the next class. It's something that we call prototyping, and you can click things, you can drag things, you can do so many stuff. You can actually imitate a whole website on Figma. with prototyping, but we will cover it a bit in tomorrow's session. So yeah. So guys, please tell me if the variant part is clear as well, and then I'll hand the session over to Laba to teach you user experience design. Please let me know, and please try to create it yourself as well. Can you repeat variant? Sure, sure. Okay, so what I did, Ilsa, I I'll just delete it right now. Okay, so what I did, I went to the main component I made. I clicked on it, right, the main frame, and the button that I clicked for creating a component in the start, now I can see an option called add a variant there. If I click on it, I see this whole copy being created, right? Now I can, change its properties like its text to black and all that stuff. And now it's a whole different variant now, right? Yeah, there we go. And I can name it on the right side. I can name it dark mode. And then if I go to assets, I drag things up here and I go on the right side. It's saying select a property, like which variant do you want? I can select a dark mode and it will give me the dark mode variant. So this is how I, made a variant. Oh yes, Ryan, please make one. Please practice these things because it's really, really easy to forget all of them if you don't practice this everything that we are telling in this course. Okay, so yeah, um, guys, please write done if you have created a variant as well with a little changing. That's it. Please write done if you have created a variant. It's done. Awesome. Okay, so yeah, okay. So thank you, Laba, for being so patient. I'll have
No.
you can now teach my beautiful
Hi
students.
everyone. Hello everyone. I am here. My name's Laiba, if you guys don't know. And I am basically going to be teaching you guys a little more theoretical stuff. So I hope you guys don't get bored with that because I know I do get bored with theoretical stuff. But I try to make it as concise as possible and as like thorough as possible. So obviously throughout this course, so far we've studied a lot about user interface, right? So what exactly um, is the product or the website that you're trying to design should look like, right? So a lot of the stuff that we've actually done so far has been about designing the product, but not about particularly, we haven't learned a lot about the user experience, right? We've learned about how a user can navigate their way through a website, and that accounts for the user experience. But we particularly want to know more about what UX is, what designing and what kind of designers are accumulated within the UX design team. So just all of these things that we have going on, I wanted you guys to kind of know a little bit more of the theoretical stuff. So you guys are equipped with just, the right keywords when it comes to you guys working in a professional environment, right? So basically, we're going to start off with what exactly is a UX designing or what UX particularly means, right? So what is exactly UX? So UX essentially simply means that it is a user experience. So U stands for user and X particularly annotates experience, right? So user experience simply means how the user feels, right? How exactly are they experiencing a product? How exactly are they interacting with your product? And what kind of feelings are enticed by that usage, right? Let me just particular 1 second. Just let me open my chat as well so I can see how everything's going in the chat. Okay, yeah, perfect. Right? So that's particularly what a user experience stands for, or what UX stands for. Simple. So what I hope you guys can see my screen, by the way. Just let me know in the chat if you guys can see it, because that is very important for you guys to kind of note things down. Okay, lovely. And do let me know if at any point I am not audible, or if you guys want me to repeat something or go back to something. That is always an option. Okay. So what constitutes as a good user experience, right? Because a lot of the times we study all about designing, we studied about color theory, we studied about, typography, but there are a few things, there are a few basics that you need to know as a designer, and you need to kind of keep in mind as a designer that constitutes a good user experience design, right? So there are simply four things. Okay? So there's simply four things. For with U, it stands for usable and useful. And with E, it stands for equitable and enjoyable. So particularly, what exactly is a usable design? What exactly is a useful design? What is an equitable design? And what is an enjoyable design? So we're going to move on to kind of a little deeper dive into what all of these mean, right? So what is a usable design? A usable design simply means that making a design which is easier to use. So it's a design that is just understandable by everyone, right? People can just navigate their way easily through your website, through your application. It's just a very handy application that you've made or you've designed, and people can just like easily flow through it, right? It's accessible to everyone. So that's a usable design, which is the very basic of a UX design. Make your designs usable, make it easy for everyone to use. Next up is a useful design. What exactly is a useful design? So a useful design is simply that solves a user's problem, right? The whole purpose of you coming up with a brand, the whole purpose of you coming up with a product is supposed to solve a problem in the market, right? And so a design that you make should also be particularly something that solves the user's problem. So that's usable. That means that it is particularly a design that makes it easier for people to use it. A useful design is something that people should have no problem using, and then it solves their problem. So simply, hopefully this is clear, a usable design and a useful design. Now we're going to move on to the letter E, which stands for equitable and enjoyable. So an equitable design is particularly just something that is useful, right? It is, again, it stands for useful, and it also stands for something that's marketable to people with diverse qualities. So for example, there's someone, this is where your accessibility comes in, right? This is where you're particularly your consideration for people who might, for example, have a sort of disability or are specially abled, right? This is where those kind of features come into your design. So for example, if there's a person who's blind, then they could have an equitable design if their needs are catered to, right? For example, they might have like a voice assistant on that application or the design that you've made, and that just makes it easier for people who are blind or who have an eyesight impairment to use it. So that's what an equitable design is. It caters to the needs of not just the average human, but just of any and every person who might be specially abled or who have just another set of diverse qualities, right? So that's particularly what the three UX design features are. Usable, makes it easier to use. Useful, it just solves your user problems. Equitable, it is marketable to people with diverse qualities. And lastly, we have your enjoyable. So the design should just be fun, right? It should kind of be something that creates a positive connection between the user and the product. So the product, until and unless the design is enjoyable, people wouldn't want to come back to it. Maybe they would want to try it the first time, but then they wouldn't want to come back to it because there's no emotional connection to that design or to that product. So making your design enjoyable, something that people would want to come back to, something that people are just pleased with, then of course it's going to be a better UX experience, a better user experience. And Ariba, I totally agree. There's not a lot of websites or a lot of applications that are equitable. And I think that is something we as new designers should probably very much focus on, literally. And I think that also has to do a lot with culture and traditions, because like in our society, impairments and disabilities are just overlooked and they're not considered. So I think once we start incorporating people with diverse qualities in our designs. I think that just calls for a bigger marketplace as well as just, creating a better experience. Right. So next up, we're going to talk about what are the different types of UX designers. So this is something that you guys, if you want to pursue a career in UX designing, or if you just want to perhaps just have a know-how of how UX designers work in different fields, this is going to be something that you guys should definitely focus on, right? So there's multiple different types of UX designers. Some of them that I have listed here is interaction designers, there's visual designers, there's motion designers, there's graphic designers, and your favorite, your UX designers, right? So what exactly are your interaction designers? Your interaction designers are particularly just designers who focus a lot on your product's experience, right? They focus a lot on how the users are considered in the product's functionality. So they basically are just catering to how the user is, interacting with your product. How? Okay, sorry. Is it fine now? Savan, just let me know. Is it fine? Okay, perfect. So basically, interaction designers are simply just designers who are very much focused on how a user is interacting with your product, interacting with your design. And that is one of the very essential things of a UX designer team. Interaction designers are very important because they are particularly just ensuring the success of your product in terms of the experience, right? So interaction designers and UX designers a lot of the times are used interchangeably, but they are both equally very important. Next up is your visual designers. So obviously, I hope you guys remember the first session that we had. We had that session on color theory, we had that session on typography, and this is where those skills of yours would come into play, and that is your visual designer. So they're particularly very focused on the aesthetics of your website or the aesthetics of your product, right? They're very focused on how the product looks, what the perception of that product is going to be per se as on the basis of the looks of that particular product. Are they using gradients? Are they using bold colors? Are they using pastel colors? How exactly is that product being perceived by the people simply on the basis of its looks? So that is another type of your UX designers. Also, someone is commenting on the chat. Let me just see. Fun fact. Okay, that's just Usher. That's just Usher. Okay. Quick question. Can I add a sound to play when someone opens up my website, like a chime? Yes, you can definitely do that. Yep. Please call my name. Usher. Yeah. Okay. So we have visual designers. And then the next up is your motion designers. So motion designers are simply those designers which are particularly focused on your product's navigation. So what exactly does that mean and how are they different from your interaction designers? Interaction designers a lot of the time do focus a lot on your micro interactions, on how when you click a heart, for example, when you're talking about Instagram, you click the heart emoji or whatever, and then kind of pops up into a different color, and then there's a little bit of confetti. So those little micro interactions are something that the interaction designers do, right? The motion designers, however, they focus a lot on your website pages, right? So what happens when I click this particular button? What happens when I click on, the nav bar that says the home icon or the home label is written on it, and when you click on it, where does it exactly take you, right? So the motion designers are very focused on leading you to different pages, leading you to different interfaces. That's what the motion designers do. So they're again focusing a lot on your user flow. How exactly is the user flowing through your website? Where does a particular button reach them? And what happens when you click something? What happens when you click the other thing? So that's particularly what the motion designers do. Let me just read the chat if in case there's any questions. Are you guys clear till now? Please let me know if you guys want me to take you back to a slide. This is just like very simple stuff, but always feel free to ask questions. Okay. Okay. Good. Hopefully this theory is not boring. I tried to make it as fun as possible, but it's theory at the end of the day. Sorry about that. Right. Next up, we have your graphic designers. Now, graphic designers don't necessarily have to be UX designers. Okay, let's just keep that in mind because graphic designers can also just be people who make posters, right? They could just be people who, they're designing products, like tangible products, right? So graphic designers, again, they work hand in hand with your visual designers because they also focus a lot on your aesthetic and what exactly the product looks like, right? So, but what they do is they want to create a sort of message with their designing. So they're just not completely focused on the colors and the typography, but they want to create a message through the visuals that they create. So that's what graphic designers do. A lot of the times, graphic designers and visual designers work hand in hand, or they could also just be the exact same person. That is totally fine as well. So if, for example, me and Usher were working on the Knowfly website design, right? So he was focusing a lot on the visual designing, and I was working on the graphic designing of the website. So I think when you guys do see it, you will understand that there are certain parts of the website where I've designed graphics for some animations and stuff like that. So that's what I was doing as a graphic designer, and then Usher was focusing on how the website particularly looked and all of that, right? So this is how you can kind of distinguish. And I think once you do see the website when it launches, you guys will be able to kind of figure it out and kind of distinguish what I have done and what Usher was doing. So yeah, that is something you guys can look out for. And lastly, we have your UX designers, which I think all of us were kind of waiting for. So UX designers are particularly just people, again, they work hand in hand with your interaction designers, but UX designers as a whole, they completely focus on your interactive experience of the product. So they care about the micro interactions, they care about the visuals, they care about the graphics, they care about all of the things that the previous designers were doing. Now, something that's very interesting is now I'm telling you all of this stuff, but like there's like 5 different types of designers, maybe there's more, right? um Something that you guys should know about is like when you're in a larger company, it is much easier to distinguish between the different types of designers. But when you're working for a smaller company, or when you're doing your own business, or when you're particularly, working for a startup, a lot of the times, all of these things you have to do yourself. A lot of the times they don't have like big teams of designers. Maybe it's just 2 people on the team, or maybe it's just you yourself as an individual. And a lot of the times you have to do the visuals, you have to do the typography, you have to do the graphics, you have to do the user experience. So it's really important for you to know everything if you are aiming for a smaller startup and you want to have more, work on your hands. So that's something that you guys can do. The designers who work for smaller companies or startups and have to do everything themselves, they are particularly known as generalists. And then designers that are, working for bigger companies and they're, more specialized, then those are called as specialists. I didn't add those things into the slide because I wasn't aiming to explain that because that's a lot deeper, but this is just something you guys can know. So there's specialists and then there's generalists, which is very easy to remember as well, right? The hero section we made yesterday. Okay. Anyway, let's talk about what you as a UX designer would be collaborating with. So like, who are the people that would be on your team if you are looking to design a product, if you want to, work on creating the ultimate and the optimized user experience? Who are going to be the people who are going to assist you in creating that product that promises like a good user experience? So a few people, again, that I have listed, a few qualified people that I've listed are UX researchers, UX writers, some production designers, some UX engineers, and UX program managers, right? So we're going to dig a little deeper, slightly deeper into all of this stuff. So let's get into it. Okay, so who exactly are your collaborators when it comes to UX designing? So your collaborators aim for UX researchers, right? So UX researchers are simply those people who help you in understanding what the market is going about, happening in the market, like what are the users' needs, what are their behaviors, what are their preferences, all of the things that you would need to design a product that caters to the needs of the users. So that's particularly what a UX research is. Maybe you have competitors in the market, right? So if you are just looking into the competitors that you have for the similar kind of product that you're making, that also counts for UX research. Anything that is at the end of the day contributing to a better user experience is considered a UX research, and that is particularly what UX researchers do. So in Knowfly's team, it is Nermeen. Nermeen is responsible for the UX research. And she's obviously doing a lot of other stuff, but that's something that she particularly does, like UX research and stuff. And hopefully we can have a workshop on UX research because that would be really helpful, right? Next up, we have UX writers. So UX writers are basically people who particularly caters to the language of your website, not the language in terms of like the translation and stuff, but the language in terms of how easily it is understandable for the people, right? Because notice how we talked about a usable user experience design. A usable user experience simply means that it's easier for everyone to use. And that's what UX writers ensure. They ensure that it is readable, the text is readable, and what exactly is it trying to communicate. All of that stuff is managed by a UX writer. And again, in Knowfly, it is something that Javeria really leads. So yeah, she's a UX writer for our team. Obviously, she's the COO before she is a UX writer, but that's something she does. So yeah, hopefully everything is clear by now. I'm going to wait for you guys to let me know. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Right. So now we're going to come up to the production designers. Now, what exactly are production designers? It is something that is, I think it might be new for a lot of you guys because that is something that I hadn't known before I did my Google UX course. So UX designers also collaborate with your production designers. Now, what are production designers? They're basically just the bridge between the engineering team and the interaction team, right? So all of the work that the interaction designers are doing, you know, all of the assets that they're designing, all of the elements that they're designing. For example, the interaction team is working on your let's say they're working on your Figma file, right? So the production designers are going to kind of bridge the gap between the engineering team receiving messages from the interaction team. So that's particularly exactly what the production designers are doing. They're kind of communicating between interaction designers and engineers and making sure that the engineers receive everything that they need to create that final product from the interaction designers. So that's simply what they do, right? And then we have your UX engineers. So UX engineers are focusing on developing the product. They're the ones that are truly making the product into a reality, right? So that is before, like after we've come up with the prototype in Figma and stuff, now the engineers are the one who are going to, you know, do the coding, the programming, and all of that integration of the design into an actual functionable product. So on our team, again, it's Usher, who's a UX engineer, and the main one is Gaurav. And another one is also Nermeen. Nermeen is also going to be doing some UX engineering later down in the road. So yes, that is what is Avan, just cheering everyone up. Lovely. Keeping the chat interesting. Yep. And lastly, I don't know why this is UX engineers again, but this was supposed to be a program manager, basically. This was not supposed to be UX engineer. Sorry about that. But basically, what the last one does is that they focus on clear and timely communication. So they set up goals and they write up project plans. Yeah, when I don't, dude, I was literally working on this till like the last minute. So I'm sorry if this is messed up, but yeah. Okay. Oh my God, I feel really Thank you, Asher. Thank you for that. Yeah. So basically, we're going to talk about the responsibilities of a UX designer. Now, these are some things that you should always kind of remember, some things that you can look up once you're done with these sessions. Just something that you should educate yourself on, because if you really are serious about becoming a UX designer, or if you know someone and you just want to consult them, then these are some things that you can always refer to, right? So a UX designer particularly focuses on branding. So basically setting the identity for your brand, whether it's the colors that you use in your web page or your product, whether it is the typography that you use, it's all in terms of the identity that you're creating. And that as a UX designer is a very big responsibility for you, because as long as the person has, or as long as the UX designer has made that identity clear that this color represents this product, right? Um, Simply looking at the color would help the users identify and associate it with the brand itself, right? So branding is very important. The next step is user flows. So user flows, again, they really help the UX designer, kind of cater to the users and their needs and their behaviors. So again, that is something we've already touched upon a lot of times as our course proceeded. And the user flows are again a very big responsibility for the UX designers, because that is particularly what defines the user experience. Then we have UX writing, something we've talked about, visual design, the aesthetics of the website, then prototyping. That is something that Rahim actually mentioned on the chat. He talked about how a UX designer, how exactly can they see how the website is interactive and stuff, and how do you kind of create a mock-up of that website for you to see as a designer how the website's going to kind of proceed and progress. So that's where prototyping comes in, and that's something that Usher is going to be teaching tomorrow. So just be on the lookout for that. So prototyping is simply you designing a product and kind of making sure how it's going to be navigating its way, how the user is going to navigate it through the prototype, right? So you don't need any coding, you don't need any programming for this. You're simply just designing a product and showing it to the user how it's going to navigate through the website.
Laifa, I think we cannot hear your voice.
Yeah. One second.
Sure.
Okay, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, lovely. Right. 1 second. Let me just adjust this. Right. Okay. So I hope you guys heard me till like the UX or user research part. Then we have your production design. So basically what the production design is, again, we've already talked about it. It is where your interaction team is being bridged by a production designer and the engineering team, right? So they're forming the bridge between the engineering team and the interaction team. And then we have your information architecture. We have your usability testing and A/B testing. Now, these these five that I've highlighted are basically going to be dived in a little deeper. So we're going to move on to that. Hopefully it's clear till now. These five that we have, we're going to explore a little more in the next slides. Okay, lovely. Right. So now we're going first off talk about the user experience or the user research, something we've already kind of touched upon. But things that I want to kind of particularly talk about is that UX research can be divided into three parts, right? Three stages. Those three stages are your foundational research, you have your design research, and then you have your post-launch research, right? We're going to again dive a little deeper into all three of these in the next slides. So for now, let's just focus on what the common methods of a UX research is. So just simply kind of, if you kind of visualize how you would find yourself doing UX research is you can do interviews, right? You can do interviews of potential users or users that are already in the market for your product. You can do interviews or you can also do surveys, right? So surveys are a little more they're a little more they're not in depth particularly, but they're just like the same question for every user, and then it just kind of makes the data more comparative, as opposed to interviews where you can obviously manipulate the questions and you can have a little more of like an in-depth feedback from the user. Yeah, we can also use secondary information for that. We can also do websites. Obviously, we can always surface the website. We have Chat GPT. We all are very familiar with that. But this is just a way for you guys to get as much research as possible. So you can surf the web. You can have interviews as a form of primary research. You can have surveys, again, as a form of primary research. Then you have your usability studies and your A or B testing. These are just responsibilities of a UX research, which we're going to kind of explore a little more, because these are two things I feel like most of us are unfamiliar with. So we're gonna talk about usability studies and A/B testing in a bit. So number one, the first stage of UX research is foundational research. What is foundational research? So foundational research is particularly just research that you conduct before the designing process, right? So before the designing process, you're going to be conducting foundational research to kind of answer a few questions on what you should build, right? What do you want to build? What exactly do you want your product to be? And what problem of the users do you want that product to solve? So there's a bunch of questions you ask during the foundational research process. And one of the main ones is, what do we build? What is the product, right? So that is the basics of your foundational research. So they're forming the foundation of your product. Just think of it like that. It's the first stage, forming the foundation of the product, and it is, what should the product be, right? So some common methods of foundational research are, again, interviews that you can conduct with potential users, kind of understanding where their problems lie, and then you can focus on what the product should be. You can have surveys, you can have focus groups, where focus groups are simply just having a bunch of people, like a group of people just sitting in a circle, and then you're kind of inciting discussions, and kind of you're not particularly hosting the focus group, but you're kind of leading them towards certain directions where you can gather important feedback, right? And then you have your field studies, where you're particularly going out into the field and kind of understanding what problems the users have. Hi, Bushra. Okay, so sorry, I just have to reply to this. Bushra, yeah, it's totally fine if you have Figma with a limited access. You are good to go. That's fine. You don't need a premium at the very start. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the design research. So design research is the second stage of your UX or user research process. So design research is, you're in the designing process. You're within the designing process, you're designing your product. But now the question that comes up during this stage is, how should we build the product? How exactly do we want the product to look like? How exactly are the people going to navigate their way through the product? How are the user flows going to be? So all the important questions of user experience are asked during the design research, during the design process, right? And some very important or very common methods of research during this time are your usability study and your A or B testing. Now, time and time, you're going to see these two methods of research, and don't worry, we're going to talk about them in a little bit, right? So then we have your post-launch research, which is the very last form of research for you. So post-launch research is particularly just the research that, oh my God, 1 second. Yeah. It's particularly just research that you conduct after the designing process. So you've made your product, you've made your prototype, and now you want to see how the users interact with the product. Now you want to see what the users feel about the product. You want to get feedback, you want to get criticism, so you can make a better final product. So this is what post-launch research does. Now, again, here we have your usability study, your A/B testing, your surveys, and your log analysis. Now, log analysis is simply a form of research in which you, as a user UX researcher, look up videos of users using your particular product, right? So it's basically just people reviewing your product or they're giving feedback on your product. So that's what log analysis is. Log stands for just have you guys like watched vlogs and stuff, right? So that's exactly what a log is. It's just a video form of your user reviewing your product. So you can always go back to it, you can look at it, assess how the user feels and experiences your product, and that is a very important way of kind of having your post-launch research. Now we're going to get into the more important part, and that is the usability testing and your A or B testing. So usability testing is a very important form of UX research. What exactly is a usability testing? So to make things easier and not complex, let's just think of usability testing in a way of just breaking down the word, right? The usability particularly just caters to or just refers to the usability of the product, right? How is the user using the product? Is it easy to use? Is it hard to use? How is the product successful, right? Um, Hi, Kirat. Yeah, I have not actually talked about A/B testing yet. I will get to that in like after this slide. So don't worry, you didn't miss out on anything. A/B testing for now, all you need to know is that it is a form of UX research. Yeah, that's all you need to know for now. So it's just a form of research that you conduct in all three stages of your user experience research. So on the foundational research stage, you also use it in your design stage, and you also use it post-launch, right? So yeah, then we have your usability testing. So usability testing is particularly just a form of experiential testing. So the way you can distinguish usability testing or A or B testing is that usability testing is an experiential testing. So you're basically just looking at the users using the product, how they're interacting with it. Is it making them feel good? Is it an equitable product? Is it an enjoyable product? All of these questions need to be answered during this testing, right? A goal of usability testing is for designers to aim and understand the user pain points. Like, where are the users facing a difficulty when they're using your product? What exactly do they not understand during this stage? And so basically that's what usability testing does. So you're firsthand looking at the user, they're using your product, what's their response? What's their feedback? What are they struggling with? What do they like? All of this stuff is just first-hand interaction with the product. And you can particularly get very in-depth feedback during this stage and this form of UX research. So are you guys clear with usability testing? Please let me know. Okay. Okay. All right. We're almost towards the end of I think we just have 3 more slides left. So just hang in there, guys. Is it like a survey? It's not particularly like a survey because a lot of the times when you're doing a survey, it's usually in a written form, right? So you're taking feedback on a piece of paper or just a Google form or something like that. Usability testing is more so like you do it in a controlled environment, right? So you have users and you give them your product, and then you're either recording them or you're either particularly, not recording them, but just taking their review firsthand, right? So that's just you put the users on the spot and then you're asking them to use the product. Yeah, it could be a video, it could not be a video. Maybe it's just a firsthand, a natural interaction with the user. Either way, it's just your users interacting with your product, and you're assessing how they're responding to it. So that's what usability testing is. And then you can also ask them questions. So it's more of an interactive form of testing instead of you just watching videos of people using your product. It's more they're right before you, they're right in front of you, or maybe they're on a Zoom call and they're using your product and you're asking them questions about the product and how they feel about it. So that's something that usability testing really helps with, because you can gather a lot of in-depth feedback from the user. And then you can obviously always incorporate it into your design, right? Now, next up, we have your A/B testing, right? So A/B testing is simply an example of your comparative testing, right? A/B testing is comparative testing, and then your usability testing is experiential testing. So in A/B testing, you're not interacting with the users. A/B testing is simply you comparing a product with another product, right? You comparing, for example, a certain feature with another feature. You're comparing a certain application with another application. So this is comparative testing, and it allows designers to compare two websites, two applications, but it always has to be, kind of one or the other, right? So you're trying to figure out which application or which product is providing a better experience for the user. Why is it providing the better experience? And you're comparing and you're analyzing, creating hypotheses and all of that. Yeah. So if, for example, if you compare Pepsi with Cola, right? So you're kind of digging a little deeper into why Coca-Cola is better or why Pepsi is better. So it's just kind of like comparing two products with one another and assessing why one or the other is better. So that's simply what A/B testing is. And what the designers aim, or what the researchers aim from A/B testing, is to understand what the users want. What do they prefer? And how exactly can we make sure that we incorporate those preferences and those design factors that please the users and optimize our already existing design or our already existing product. And if it's not already existing, then how exactly do we make a good product? So that's what A/B testing is. And then we have your usability testing. Hopefully this is also clear to you guys. And I think we are just done now. So I just want to introduce you guys to just two important terms, and then we will wrap up this session. So two important terms that we have is information architecture, right? So what exactly is an information architecture? This is just a term that you should know about. It's something that I learned uh, while I was researching on user experience. So an information architecture is simply the framework of a website and how it's organized, right? How it's categorized, how it's structured. So it's simply just the layout, and that's what information architecture is. So how exactly are you communicating your information to the user? And this again needs to be very importantly and very like particularly and carefully managed, because that can account for a really good user experience. If your information is all over the place within your product or within your website or within your application, it will be really hard for the user to understand what's important, what's not important, what can they skip, what can they not skip, right? So kind of really paying a lot of attention to how you communicate your information and creating that hierarchy, and how that creating that organized structure for your information is very important. And that's what information architecture is, right? And lastly, we have your production design, which is something we've already talked about. So I think, yes, we are done. So thank you guys. Is it like how the website is constructed, smoothness, colors, etc.? Yeah, particularly information architecture doesn't really matter in terms of colors and stuff. But if your colors are accounting for a dominant element in your website, then of course colors are also very important. But it's just simply the layout of your website, how it's organized. Is the homepage like, the first thing that you see? Just kind of catering to all of that is your information architecture. Yeah. Is everyone clear with everything? If you guys want me to repeat anything, that would be fine too. I will also share all of these slides with you after the session ends, so don't worry about that. Hopefully,
By the
I
way,
wasn't boring.
guys, just
Yeah.
one exciting thing I just remembered. So I was just researching some months back about how these companies like Amazon, Google, and all these companies actually, finalize a design, um, especially using A/B testing. Like what they are assigned is they are assigned to create as many designs as possible for a single feature, let's say, right? And let's say they are building the hero section of Amazon.com. So what they will do is they will actually, create two websites like let's say Amazon1.com and Amazon2.com. Let's say, right? And when you visit Amazon.com, they will direct half the people to Amazon1 and half the people to Amazon2, and then they will have some indicators on the back, um, trying to know how like which website is performing better for their sales, and like whatever strategies they used in both websites, which one is performing better, making more sales and all that stuff. So that's how these big companies do. Like you don't even know there's the second design existing, and you're just using one, and your activity and your data is being tracked constantly during that whole process. So yeah, that's how they do A/B testing. Really interesting. Okay, so yeah, Lava, do you have anything more to say, or can I teach them how to get the stuff?
No, I have nothing more to say. No, you guys
Okay.
can go ahead.
Okay, so finally the moment you all have been waiting for. Okay, so let me
Are you going to stop the
just
recording before you say this?
no, let it keep
Free stuff
in
for
the record.
everyone?
Yeah. Okay, so here's the thing. To actually get Canva Pro for free, for free, you know what? Let's just get Figma for free first. Type in Figma for education because Figma is easy, right? And that's what we are being taught. So just type in Figma for education, and you'll see this whole, um, this whole web page. And here you would be like, you can use every feature as like free if you are a student or a teacher, and you will see this button get verified. If you are here, please just let me know in the chat. I'll drop the link as well for your ease. There we go. Right now, click on this get verified button. It will say I am already verified, but for you guys, Laba, are you verified by the way?
What?
Like, do you have Figma Pro by the way?
No, I don't.
If you do not have and you are on a laptop, can you share your screen?
Yeah, sure, I'll share my.
Sure.
Yep.
Okay. It will be better because I would be, able to
Yeah,
explain
yeah,
each
yeah.
step.
Yeah, okay, 1 second.
Yeah. Okay. So
Let me
yeah.
just 1 second. Let me close this. Hmm. Okay. Go away, please. Yes. Don't look at my tabs, guys. Don't look at my tabs. What is this? There we go. Let me just open a new thing.
Okay. No, just type Figma for education on Google.
Oh, oh, okay. Sorry. Never mind, guys. Figma for what? Who
For
sent that?
education. Why are you shouting at Google?
Give me free Figma. Give it to me.
Yeah, the
Okay,
first
yeah.
link.
What first one? This?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, if you just scroll down a bit, you'll see this button. Um, get verified. Just a little bit under.
Okay. Here?
Yeah, just yeah.
Okay. I'm a newbie, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Oh, wait, you already have it as well.
Oh, wait, what? I just तुम्हारा use करती होंगी मैं.
No, I remember taught. Okay, anyways, yeah, Subhan, if you can share, please.
Guys, I'm sorry. We're too cool for this.
Hang on, I'll share mine.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Too cool. Wait, let
Dabak,
me stop
yeah,
sharing.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah, so
What?
this is the kind of form that you will see, right? If you are applying as a student, there can be, some limitations like what's your graduation date, and then they will stop your access and all that stuff, right? So always apply as a educator. So, just click on educator and the graduation date just goes away, right?
Ooh,
So
had it.
now, yeah. So now just type in the first box, just type in, uh, I'm a I'm a web designing teacher and I want to use this feature to teach my students about Figma, to teach my students. Yeah.
I
So,
mean, where's the lie, guys?
yeah. And then you go to what's your school name? Then it's, yeah, just select school not listed. Yeah. And then in what's your primary field of instruction? I think you will see computer science. Yeah. Just select computer science. Yeah. And then just agree to whatever they are saying. Yeah. And just submit. Yeah. So okay. So now it will ask you to choose a team, and if you do not already have a team created on Figma, then you can just create one. But yeah, anyways, just click on this choose team to upgrade. But yeah, like you have gotten the Figma Pro now. Yeah. So yeah, just click on next. Yeah, here you go. So you should see that all this stuff is now free for you. It would have costed you this much, but now it's free. So you just click next and woo, Figma's free for you all. Let me
Ooh,
know if you have all done this.
Oh my God. Figma will come for us again.
Figma, please
Oh
don't sue me.
no.
It's Laiba.
Figma,
My name
please.
is Laiba
No,
Mubin. I am teaching.
no. मैं अपना कैमरा बंद कर दूं अल्लाह.
wait. So how do
Figma
I
will.
how do you create a file then? Just through here? Oh,
Yeah.
uh, yeah. So you can now use
No.
the FigJam feature. Okay, how do you? Okay, just click on Team Project
Yeah. Click
on the
on
left.
that on the left side.
Yeah,
Yep.
and just create a new file from the top. Design file, Figma Jam. And even if you want to just create it like personal, you can even do that. It's like totally free for you now. The team thing, however, is like if you are collaborating with people, like I was collaborating with Laipa, Nemi, Javiria, Gaurav, and everybody. So I had to upgrade all those teams. Guys, what's with that duck? Okay, so yeah, now Canva turn. Can you write on Google Canva for education? I just hope they still have that program because it's been an year since I did that, or maybe yeah. Try Canva for education. So you just have to click under teachers, the get verified. Yeah, okay. I think it's a tougher one, and you will have to, provide a letter here, but I'll tell you how to do it as well. Okay, so get started. Yeah. just tell them your name. Yeah. School name. Just say anything like Soban Academy. Let's say.
Damn, flex.
Yeah. School address. Just type. Whatever city and country. It doesn't matter. But
Oh
yeah.
my god. Oh my god. It's a
Yeah,
foreigner.
cool. Cool.
Yeah,
We're in
let's say
UK.
UK. Yeah. And for the website, okay, it's optional, right? Yeah, it's optional. But no, don't do that. Don't add a fake one.
Oh no, I was gonna add yours.
Yeah, just skip it. It's optional. So
Okay.
just
Okay.
continue. Just click on continue. Yeah. Now they want a letter, right? So open Canva on another tab. Yeah. So, yeah. Laba, you can follow this too because you don't have Canva Pro for free. Right? Yeah.
No, but my
Yeah.
university email, we can get Canva Pro.
Okay, like okay, then Subhan search for letter. Yeah, we will use Canva to get free Canva. Okay, yeah, just pick anything you like. Yeah, yeah, just make the the main heading on the top. Just make it Subhan's Academy. Exactly, the thing you wrote. Not even a letter less or more. Just make it SA. Yeah, just want to talk.
What is this?
And
UX designing course
and
has turned
okay,
into
okay.
something else.
Yeah. So yeah, just one more thing. If you go back to that one, just to see what they wrote. On the previous screen, yeah. Or the one where we are making Canva free.
Ah, yeah.
I think it was the left one.
Yeah. Give me a second. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's saying upload a document or the photo of a document that shows your teaching qualification or employment status. Right. Now, if you can open Chat GPT, like chat.openai.com. Yeah, that's something. Yeah. Okay. So tell ChatGPT to write an employment status letter for Subhan Kidwai, stating that he is a teacher at Subhan's Academy. Yeah. He's a computer science teacher at Subhan Academy. Yeah. Yep.
Is this?
So that's how AI helps you.
Okay.
Yeah, just copy this whole thing. You don't even need to copy the city, zip code, and all that stuff. Just the text part. Yeah. You don't need. Yeah, just copy from subject. Yeah. Yeah. Copy paste it. Mm. Remove the design upward. Yeah, like on the upside, it's yeah. Just remove this whole thing. Yeah, and also remove the to Daniel and all that stuff. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, just properly format this thing in the middle. Yeah. Add your name and stuff, company's name, and just fill like the thing that it didn't wrote. Yeah,
Whatever
yeah,
for recipient.
yeah. Just to whoever it may concern, to whoever it may concern. It's a little bit time taking for Canva, but trust me, it's just so good. Yeah. Okay. So Yeah, well, random starting date. Just do it 2022 actually, just to give this vibe that you are an old
Guys,
employee.
to get something free, you need to work hard for that too. I don't like
Yeah. Okay, so
nothing
now
is
in this
really
thing,
for free.
yeah,
You earned this.
yeah, in this thing, just remove work hours, current salary at the end, remove all these things. Work hours, current salary, reporting authority, additional responsibilities. Yeah, just remove that. You don't actually need to, current salary and work hours. And yeah, just give us spacing. Yep. And just, fill it properly like full time. It's a full time job and all that stuff. Yep. Just make sure everything's good. Mm, yeah, yeah. Just okay. So just in this thing, just write Subhan Kidwai as well. And in the this uh computer science structure, that's it. Yep. Okay. So yeah, this should look good. And just remove this line as well, I think. Yeah, on the right. Yeah. Yeah, and just download this as a PDF, I think. Whatever format they have asked for. If you just check it out quickly,
Where's the? Oh shit! There it is.
download PDF standard. There you go. It should take them like some minutes, and then they should approve. Yeah,
Maybe I should rename it or just leave it as it is.
yeah, yeah. Rename
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
Priya is saying, send it to us too.
No, guys, come on, you can create one.
Everyone's gonna be Saban's Academy.
No, don't do this. They might actually, see that it's a scam going on.
And then
That'll be
Asher will
funny.
be caught red-handed.
Yeah,
Oh, and just
there you
submit.
go. Yeah. Okay, wait. It was saying date with current academic year. Anyways, let's say. Okay, just done it. Okay. Yeah, this should actually, uh, just write design art. Just write art. No, no, don't skip it. Just write art. Continue. Highest. Oh, yeah, 12, 11. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I hope it should get approved. If it does, just post a screenshot, on spam group or something. You just let me know. If it doesn't, we'll try again.
Try again. Sounds good.
Okay, so yeah, this is it. Okay, so guys,
Oh,
before you go,
yeah, that's something you have to crack, and Asher knows how to do that too. Yep.
okay,
He
so
knows the
you,
dark web scene.
okay, so yeah, you should get stuff for free now. Okay,
No, they got
so when
Figma. Cool.
you got it,
Yeah, for
or
Figma I got it. Yeah.
okay, it should, yeah. Okay, just let me know if you got it for Canva as well. Okay,
Yeah. It's
you have got it.
been okay. It's been submitted 48 hours. Okay. Cool.
Okay. Okay. So anyways, other than this, yeah, I just had one last question. We were actually, planning something uh, among our team, and we wanted to, take your honest opinion on stuff, right? So yeah, I'll just off the recording, but by YouTube, guys.